Hey guys, we're trying this again. Unfortunately, even after spending an hour setting up, I can't flip the phone around. So you guys want to join in? Everybody? Josh, where are you? Josh, we need Josh, whoever else is in there for our live chat. Hi Roy, I see you. You can hear me, right? Roy? Roy, can you hear me? Awesome. Thumbs up. Got it. So we're going to wait a few minutes, Roy. What we're trying to do is educate and make awareness of why so many of us are having hair loss. I hear you. Thank you. Thumbs up. So we are waiting for Kim and Josh, and I can't remember who else was on the last feed. We'll give them a few minutes. What's going to happen though is back there where I wanted to use the board, it's going to be backwards. So I will do my best with what I can do. Everyone? Where is everybody? Did you guys go? We're ready to roll. Well, you're looking lovely tonight too, Roy. Thank you. We need to wait for a few more people. Josh, where are you? So hey Roy, we're gonna wait a few more minutes. Hi Daniel, we're waiting a few minutes for everyone else to join. My phone just went to mute. That's crazy. Can you guys hear me? We're having serious technical difficulties right now. Can you guys hear me still? Can you guys hear me still? Can you guys hear me, please? Vanessa, can you hear me? Okay, good. We're having serious challenges with our assistant. You can hear me? Okay, saying mute, I'm not sure why. So what I was trying to do, Vanessa, awesome. I was trying to flip the phone around so you guys could see the board and actually see literature that I have for you guys that wouldn't be backwards. But in spite of being here an hour early to set up, we can't figure it out. So I'm going to try and talk without showing you guys all this paperwork because this is really important and part of what we're talking about. So can you guys see the board back there, or is it all, it's backwards, right? Vanessa, the board is backwards? Is the board backwards, Roy? Roy? Yes, it's backwards. Okay, so we'll try and do a little bit of improv. Vanessa, why don't you actually ask me some questions regarding hair loss, and if you would like to maybe comment a little bit about what you're experiencing, if you can type in the comment, and give me some things that you're experiencing. I know we had talked before about certain medical devices, but you want to type in the browser and we'll kind of address that, and then we'll move forward on things that I want to talk about. Can you do that for me? Hi, Kim. Kim, this topic is about my toxic tail, and it's actually an ongoing documentary regarding kidney cancer, breast implant illness, and hair loss, and how I've come to where I am at 49, and how I've been able to somewhat restore my hair health. We are definitely going to start doing more of these weekly, and I want to engage more with you guys, so if you can type in comments on the bottom. Vanessa, you're going to type in some comments there, because what's happening now is most people that are experiencing hair loss are realizing that it's going back, say, 20, 30 years, right? So a lot of the situation that we're we're dealing with isn't just chemical. So what I want to say first and foremost, I've had a salon for 32 years. I do mainly hair extensions, hair restoration, and color correction. With that being said, there is some types of chemical additives that we use, obviously, to process the hair. With that being said, that's not actually what causes hair loss, because that's on the outer layer. The hair loss starts underneath this area here, which is called the dermis, and that comes from this list back here that I can't show you because it's flipped backwards. But hair loss is caused from things internal, and I wanted to show you a diagram that looks kind of like this. This is where the hair follicle is. With that being said, when we look at this diagram right here, if you guys can see this, I know that it's backwards, so I'm going to kind of explain this to you. This whole area is the follicle, right? And it shows down here a couple things, and it shows up here a couple things, right? And it's telling you exactly why we have hair loss, which is the main thing is called DHT. That actually shrinks the follicle, and it can stay dormant, it can shed, or it can die off. Hence, moving forward, that's why people have alopecia or male pattern baldness, which is on the list back there. So when you read this diagram here and you see up here on the top, if you cut this pamphlet off and you read up here and down here, it says grain and roughing cuticle, chemical pollutant styling products, right? So that's not physically causing our hair loss, that's just changing the chemical texture of the keratin, which is the follicle. We're trying to go down here, right? So this would be almost like going into the GI. So we're kind of talking about hair cancer is kind of what I've decided I'm going to call this moving forward, because I've had kidney cancer, so I can say that. So here in this diagram down here, this is why we're trying to find out why this isn't growing out strong, why it's not getting fuller, and why we're having less and less come back as we age, right? So if you see this diagram under here, I'll read this to you. Illness and infections, okay, so we all know illness and infections cause extreme issues. Stress, we all know that. Stress causes half of the problems going on in society today. We have genes and DHT, which it kind of says here, which we talked about. It says inflammation, which is right here, which we're now talking about. Inflammation causes cancer, autoimmune disorder, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, on the board back here, lupus, anemia. There's a list of 50 million things that inflammation causes, right? Poor health and medical conditions and medications. So what I'm reading to you underneath the diagram is what actually takes the follicle and shrinks the initial follicle. That's why your hair is thus falling out, right? And nutritional imbalances. So we're focusing down here, which is the root. So let's pretend underneath your scalp here, when we look at a diagram like this, okay, this is how hair should look. We're dealing with all of these types of things. We're dealing with congestion, inflammation, thinning, brittle, follicle, dandruff, seborrhea, all of these. I know this is backwards to you guys, but pretty much everything on here that I'm talking to you about starts inside. All of this stuff out here, as we talk about this for years and years, this is actually dead hair, right? So can we make the dead hair here grow and get better? We can actually cosmetically enhance it and make it feel, look, and seem to be better, but we need to get down here. So what we're talking about is how we're treating internally, inside, is the same as treating the scalp. So we're going to go back to Vanessa. Vanessa, your strands are thinner after your hair was colored and overtreated. So let's top on that. That's not actually accurate. She's saying her strands are thinner after her hair was over color treated. Yes, hence, depending on what color line you're using, as we move forward to 2016, we now have products that are more holistic, made with natural plant peptides, as you see on here. These are all the ingredients and things that certain companies are using. There's a company called Aveda. I worked for them for 32 years. They've been practicing this for over 75 years. His name is Horst Redenbach. He created Aveda a long time ago. I actually worked for him for over 15 years. So a lot of these things are not being utilized in many salons. Now on that aspect, people are starting to transfer over and they're starting to be more aware of healthy hair products, right? Not all of us, but there's a lot. So when she's mentioning about being color treated, that has a tiny bit of adverse effect to what she's experiencing, but she also has a lot of internal stuff going on. So what's happening is colored hair not being utilizing proper plant-based products, medical issues inside. If you look at the board back here, stress, postpartum, perimenopause, medication, hormone, thyroid, nutritional imbalance. These are the reason why our hair is not being able to hold the color. So when you're having a problem with the color and you're saying it's over processing your hair, it's because we still need to attack these issues. So once we attack this and we change the inside, that's what we're talking about this today, this piece of hair is able to absorb more of the chemicals that we're dealing with, okay? So she's saying her scalp was burnt and lost lots of hair. That happens a lot. So on going back to that issue, Vanessa, we're talking more about the internal issue you have, not the chemical issue on the outside. Does that make sense? We are trying to find out what type of issues you're dealing with internally. Can you type that in the comments? Because that will be my story of why you're having issues with the color. Okay, she gets that. So obviously I own a salon of 32 years. I've seen millions of people leave here with happy hair follicles. And again, it's because I use pretty holistic products and I've done this my whole life, even prior cancer, because that's just how I was raised. So Vanessa's saying inflammation from a transvaginal sling. Bingo. So when she says that, this is what I want to tell you. That is another issue we're talking about. And if you guys log on to my website called Medically Challenged, it's because people with cancer, aka me, and chemo aren't the only ones having hair loss. It's all of us. Mesh implants, pacemakers, infillators, what are those things called? In the uterus. I forget what they're called. What are those called? Ovaries? No. When people put foreign objects inside their body, it's causing all of this stuff to not come out properly, right? So there's, I can't think of it. IUDs. IUDs. Bad. So when we go back to Vanessa and we're talking about, there you are, your IUD. Now that we have research now, we're moving forward, we're seeing that all of these things affect us, right? And then on top of, we're coloring and we're blow drying and we're doing other things. So we can find a happy balance, right? If we can change in here, that's going to make the follicles, which you see here, be nice and strong so they can grow out and they can absorb what we're doing, changing color, texture, extensions, and that way we can keep our hair in, because that's the ultimate goal. So you don't have one, you were letting me know. Okay, thank you for that. So with Vanessa, I found her actually on another group that we have. I found you on breast implant illness. Is that right, Vanessa? We're going to let her comment because I really want to have her kind of tell a story if she can in the comments. Right, Vanessa? Yes. So what we're trying to talk about is, prior to the cancer, I didn't really have good hair either. Then I found out after the cancer there was some other things going on. I had some mercury fillings I had removed. I had some things in my knee joints I had removed. This is all metal stuff. I had some copper things down there that I had removed. They made you sick, took your implants. So then when I had my breasts removed, which we talk about breast implant illness, that was in December of this year, December 23rd, this actually started getting better. So what we're trying to talk about and focus in today, Vanessa, is this situation. Everything that I have on the board here, all is internal. all of the things that we're doing outside, working out, eating food, driving our car across the Arizona desert with the dust, flying on the airplane with the chemtrails, going through the x-rays at your local airport, you know, scans. All of that is adding heavy metals to inside, right? So this is what's happening when we talk about hair loss. And you guys can't see this because it's backwards, right? So when we talk about hair loss, the main 4 topics: hormonal imbalance, that's number 1. Thyroid issues, number 2. Perimenopause, number 3. Nutritional imbalance, number 4. Chemotherapy, number 5. Stress, number 6. Female pattern hair loss, number 7. We'll talk about that subject a couple months down the road. Male pattern hair loss, number 8. Prescribed medications, number 9. Postpartum hair loss, number 10. None of this says anything about hair color. So I just want to reiterate to you guys that that is not what's causing most of the issues that we are having with hair thinning at the scalp. Does that make sense, Vanessa? I just want to clarify that, if that makes sense to you guys, right? So if we, as a whole, can rebalance our whole body internally. You have a goiter on my thyroid, but hormones okay, yes. So Vanessa gets this. So if we can go inside and kind of turn back the clock, we are doing this. It's seesaw, right? So we're trying to do anti-aging on our scalp and inside of our GI and our gut bacteria. Hence, we have better nails. These are my real nails after removing my implants. This up here is all of my real hair after having the implants out. My skin looks pretty good, I think, after 49 years of owning my own business. This has all changed a lot severely since the implants. So why we're talking about breast implant illness and cancer is it's sort of one and the same, because we're now, with more research that we have online and the internet, inflammation is causing detrimental things to our bodies, right? You guys agree? So if we have inflammation inside, that causes fibromyalgia, stress, Graves, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, joint pain. All of this is inflammation. It is the exact same theory as our scalp. If our scalp here is inflamed and there's inflammation, you will have all of this happen, all of this. A healthy hair follicle should be like this, and it should be able to grow like this. If that follicle, which is down here, isn't getting nutrition, no matter what you do, this isn't going to do anything. So does that make sense to you guys? I just want to make sure, because I know a lot of things on the internet talk about nails, hair color, styling products. I'll argue with you guys till the next 50 years. I've had my business 32, and I never have a client not have results because of the things that I implement. And that's only because I told you earlier, I've been using natural pharmaceuticals and plant-based products for the last 12 years. And before that, I worked for Aveda, which is another awesome natural company. More people are kind of coming on board with that, but you still have to be able to inside repair what's happening, right? So let's all agree on this today, if anything from the videos that I do, that the #1 cause of almost 80% of our issues is what? It's a trick question. I want you guys to type in the comment section why we have so much dis-ease in the body and why we're seeing so many millenniums have issues. Rheumatoid arthritis and lupus is a big one. All of these technical terms that they label for everything, we just kind of spit the label out. Cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, all of it is in the same bubble of what? What's causing that, guys? It's a trick question. Type it in your comments. What's the #1 root of issues that we're having? Hi, Ram. My awesome web guy has joined us, and he will probably talk to you a little bit about things. Maybe he'll comment. Ramin, would you comment a little bit about your story? Would you be okay with that? If not, that's fine. Would you be okay with typing in the browser and telling us some of your issues that you've had over the last 10 years I've known you? We're talking about hair cancer, Ram, and how inflammation is causing all of these things to our body, which then affects the way our hair follicles grow out. That's what we're talking about today. And we're focusing on how we can try and heal the GI and the gut. And I want to know, Ram, if you will type in there and tell a little bit of your story. If you don't want to, that's fine. But you're actually helping some of these other people understand what's happening out there in the universe because you've lived it and you've breathed it too. We're going to wait and see if he posts anything in the comments. Because, of course, we follow the HIPAA Act, and I can't say things, it's a violation of their rights. So if you guys want to talk about it, that's entirely up to you. But again, I've known Ramin for years and years. He's my amazing web SEO guru guy, and I've helped him throughout the years with this product because he just typed in there he has Crohn's disease. So we're going to tap onto that because that's actually on this backboard. He's had a lot of severe issues and lots of surgeries. And correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, did you have a mesh pig skin something implanted into your intestines? Is that correct? Was there some type of implant that they used in your intestines a couple years ago? Can you comment in the comment section? We're going to wait for him to comment because this goes back to my website, Medically Challenged, right? This isn't all just about breast implant illness or kidney cancer or lupus lives matter or rheumatoid arthritis. This is a whole complete epidemic. And I'm able to now, after 32 years and after surviving kidney cancer, breast implant illness, rheumatoid arthritis, hair loss, SIBO, IBS, and the list goes on, to kind of put together this picture with the use of my companies that I work with and a chemist that I met a couple years ago incorporating some nutritional thing. So Ram is typing in there, he got a 12 by 16 pig mesh in his colon, okay? They installed a large piece of mesh that was supposed to prevent hernias from growing on the surgery site. And how has that worked for you after they did that, Ram? Can you type that and let the viewers know after you've been through all of that and the surgeon says this is going to help, has that helped you? We're going to let him comment on that because, again, when I keep talking about my blog online, medicallychallenged.community, this is to raise awareness on the whole entire circle of what's happening in the world as a whole. And if we focus on our disease by name calling, my arthritis, my cancer, my thyroid, you will never get well. We don't want to ever have that in our brain because our cells are like photosynthesis. It's like plants, right? So if our cells in here and in here keep hearing this, my arthritis, my lupus, my this, it's going to start signaling the mitochondria, which is here in the cell, and the cell is going to start dying, and we are never going to get well. So what we are trying to do is raise awareness, and we're going to say this over and over and over. Inflammation. Inflammation, inflammation, inflammation is pretty much the root of all evil. And then money sometimes, if you're like that. But inflammation is really the cause. So he says he ended up getting a hernia right at the top of the surgical scar, and he still has it. So I'm not here to down anybody. I'm not here to say I'm this person or I'm that. I'm here to tell you that most of the surgeries that we're having Myself, I've had 8 surgeries, lost an organ, my kidney, lost a lot of my bone here in my mouth, in my knee, in my shoulder, in my back. Having those surgeries did not fix the problem. And I'm going to tell you this. After my kidney was removed 3 years ago, you're fine. Go. You can live without a kidney. My issues and my symptoms didn't go away. They actually got worse, which is why I'm talking more a little bit about breast implant illness, because I had no idea. I didn't even know what medical safety device was until probably about 8 months ago when I joined these groups. We have another advocate on our groups. It's medical safety device. I can't remember what it is. But I had no idea how many people across the world, including Vanessa, who had a mesh sling. And we're now going like this. All of this stuff is crazy. I have a friend who has a pacemaker. Same thing. That pacemaker, they can't figure out what's going on with him. But yet he has a pacemaker in there, and we haven't talked about the implants that are in our body, right? So if you have plastic, if I have a plastic bottle and I shove it in there, and I keep that plastic bottle in there for like 23 years, or even if I have a metal pacemaker in there, your body is trying to fight off those heavy metals, right? Because it wasn't really designed to keep that. However, with medicine, we thank God because it keeps people alive, right? So Ram has been alive for the last 8 years because they did whatever they did surgically in there, right? But he still isn't feeling optimal, and his quality of life isn't up here. I believe you're eating baby food in jars. Is that right, Ram? You eat baby food because your colon can't process food that's not pureed, right? Can you comment on that? This is where it gets really exciting, because when I talk about hair stuff, people tell me that I'm not a doctor. And I'm going to tell you this. I never claimed to be a doctor. And you know what? I don't ever want to be a doctor. I have real life experience, 32 years. I've talked to thousands of chemists, biochemists, and naturopaths. Yes, we need our doctors. We need to have some surgery, I get that. But that isn't fixing the problem, because we're getting worse as we move forward. So now that we have more resources, 23andMe, genetic gene testing, heavy metal testing, we're finding out that all of this is really simple. It's all related. So Ram here is eating pureed baby food. And I'm going to tell you why. So the whole point when I talk about this, about aloe, and I obviously recommend certain things because I've seen the science, the study, the plant library, the white papers, and the patents. So I'm very anal about where I buy my things because I've been to the labs, whether it's this company, whether it's my hair care company, whether it's my hair repair company, or my pharmaceutical company, right? Ram has had to go now to eating pureed baby food, and this is what we're going to talk about the cell. So we are talking about photosynthesis, cells, flowers. Flowers need sunlight and they need nutrients, right? So when you live in the desert in Arizona, you don't have any freaking flowers. We have cactus because they get the sun and they hoard the water, right? Because they're able to hoard that water. When you go to California, we have lots of flowers, right? Because they have the water, they have the ocean, they have the sun, they have the pollen, they have a different synergy. It's photosynthesis. So when we're talking about a cell, it's the same as in here and up here. So Ram is having to eat pureed, low residue foods because his GI can't break down the outer wall of that food because of all the shit that they're putting on the food. So if he was to get an apple from my parents' house in Amish country off my mom's garden that she grows with her own soil and uses apple cider vinegar and has never sprayed her weeds once, as long as I've known my parents. My mother is 77 and still roller skates and eats all her food out of her own garden, and they're still kicking strong, okay? In today's society, with all of the food that we have, it's not as much about the food and the antibiotics and the GMO, it's about the soil. I told you guys about a book last Friday called Eat Dirt. It's all about the soil. And Ram is having problems eating normal food because of the issue with the implants of the surgery metal things in his body. And he can't process the food because it takes too much to break down the nucleus cell of that food. So people that are juicing, they're getting a more immediate effect because they're able to break through the cell. If someone has SIBO, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, SIBO is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. I've had it 5 times. What I do now is I make sure that I chew my food at least 45 times. It actually helps me stay 109 pounds, but when you chew your food that many times, it breaks down the wall, and it's a little bit easier to absorb that in certain people like him because he has Crohn's disease. Same with seeds, pumpkin seeds, soy seeds, any of that. I'm almost 100% sure, Ram, you can't have seeds, right? Right, Ram? I'm sure he can't have seeds, so then that's going to cause this other effect. Because when we talk about plants, we do a lot of seeds, right? So most of our things are sesame seed, pumpkin seeds. Yes, see, so he is not allowed to eat seeds. So now he's getting to be the tip saw, where he's not being able to balance nutritionally his internal GI because of the issue he has from the surgeries depleting part of his colon. He's lost part of his colon. If I don't know how big the colon is, 20 feet or something, Ram? You've lost a part of that, right? So I'm wondering if all of this is kind of making sense to you guys. It's kind of hard because we don't have a whole lot of time, and I'm trying to put together my TED Talk for September. I only have 18 minutes when I do it, and I have a lot to say. So they told you today no fermented foods. Right, so now this is another thing. This guy is not allowed to eat fermented foods. Garlic, onions, beans, quinoa, potatoes. There's about 15 things on the fermented food base because his body isn't able to absorb that. He needs those foods in order to give him enough protein so he doesn't get anemia, and he needs to make sure he has trace minerals. Selenium, vitamin K, copper, omegas, your omega-3s, selenium, right? Your fish, your mackerel. He needs to have that, but he can't because of the issues he's having, and he's having more of those issues because they keep doing more surgeries. The surgeries haven't fixed the problem, they're only masking the issue. And if I was in another life, I would figure out how to fix all of this synergistically by going back to Hippocrates, which is food is medicine, medicine is food. Now when you have people like him, or people that have diverticulitis, they're limited a lot on their diet. They can't eat certain things because the GI can't process it. So then we have to go to things like this, supplements, right? So we're getting our stuff through supplements, right? Because he can't eat the food, he has to start taking supplements. Right? Right, Ram? So now you have a human here that has to take all of these supplements so he can be at the bare minimum. And what's happening with that, it's called the mitochondria. His mitochondria isn't reproducing. 300 billion cells a day is what the powerhouse mitochondria is reproducing daily. When you have Crohn's, cancer, thyroid, any of these issues, your mitochondria starts doing this. It declines. Then you start not reproducing them. Then you start getting sick. Then your hair starts to get gray. You get tired. You get fatigued. You start breaking bones. You get depressed. You get mood swings. You get hot flashes. You get ADHD because your brain can't focus, okay? All of this goes back to Hippocrates, food is medicine, medicine is food. So thank God we are now in a society where there's some companies that have been making ready available foods, okay? Which would be, say, your smoothie drinks. So for someone like Ram with Crohn's, he could supplement with this, 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 and this, and grind it up in his smoothie blender, and he can maintain the things that he's lacking. So, Vanessa, are you still there, Vanessa? I wanted to make sure, Vanessa, that you see this feed with Ram, because Vanessa Ram is one of my breast implant illness ladies who has hair loss, and we're explaining to her, she's getting her sling removed. Good, Vanessa. So Vanessa, you and Ram maybe connect. Not only is he my awesome web designer, branding, love him to death guru, he's experienced a lot of devastating health declines, but he just keeps going. And he's been on some of the things I've sent him before, okay? And we talk a lot about this company. I can't talk a lot about it on live videos because of the FDA. But I'm going to tell you guys about all of this stuff later, and I'm going to show you a book. But Vanessa and Ram, I want you guys to make sure you connect, because I think you guys can help each other too with certain things. Ram, Vanessa is getting her surgery. When's your surgery, Vanessa? Yes, I'll give you the list. I just can't do it on live video. She has sent out, and it was wonderful. So when I first met Ram, I was adamant. I'm like, you have to have this, because if anything, he needs this. And like I said, I can't really talk a lot about this product, but I'm going to tell you, there isn't anything that compares. The people who have done this research have 122 scientists and a plant library that you can see. They test the plants to the DNA level, so you guys can have all of this and feel better like I do. This is it. Can you go to Trader Joe's or Amazon's or Joe Schmecky's site and buy it? You can do whatever you want, but I'm telling you that I've researched this for 32 years now, and I'm telling you the companies that you should use, because I'm here alive still talking to you. And if you guys keep watching my videos, why I post a lot about working out, hiking up the mountain, riding bike, because I was told that I could never do that, and I couldn't do any of that and have any of this without all of this, and all of this. So I've incorporated 3 things together. So Vanessa's having her surgery June 15th. So really, Vanessa, for you, the main thing is you can't do much of anything before surgery, and they've told you that because of the bleeding. So we're definitely going to make you get on this to heal your GI, and you'll start this right after your surgery, and that's going to go in there, and that's going to heal and soothe just as much as this. If you have a sunburn and you use this on your sunburn, you won't need to do anything else. This is nature's healing from wherever you want to believe, God, the planet, the chemist, whomever. This is a plant that is growing in the ground, and we've been able to DNA test this to know its property healing benefits, which is called collagen synthesis. Hair, skin, nails. So your Crohn's went bad the same year you had surgery or later. Luckily, you're a handsome bald guy. Yes, you are. But I want to say this to you, Ram, that now that I know what I know now, after having my implants out, having my mercury fillings removed, having the pins in my knees taken out, I had some metal stuff back here I had removed, and I've changed some things that I'm doing, Ram. I'm telling you right now, I can get your hair to come back. I can. If it's a hair issue within 7 years, and that follicle isn't dead, which we talked about earlier in the video, I can guarantee you that I can do this for you. But you're a handsome guy with or without, I'm just saying I can help you with that. So do you guys kind of understand? We're going to kind of show you a couple books, because if anything I can get across to you today is, I'm not trying to impress anyone. I am not a doctor. I actually was married to a doctor for 10 years. I created my name HairDoctk because I wanted to have value, and I am so passionate about what I do that I wanted people to listen. And I knew that people wouldn't listen to just a hairdresser. because I was told that for a long time from someone. So when I created my name, HairDoctk, my physical business is New Dimension Extensions, and my charity, which is Super Hairloss, those are my LLCs, but my physical trade name, HairDoctk, I did that because I want to reach more people, and I felt that was the only way. I'm realizing more and more and more now than I have ever before that, like I said, this is all a big circle. And if we can get internally healthy, this, if the follicle isn't already dead, will come and flourish. So I want you guys to make sure, if you didn't do this already, I live by this book, right? This is my #1 book that I go to, and it talks about aloe and its properties and why it's so important. It's not a fad. It's not cuckoo. There's lots of things in here, lots of tips, lots of reading, lots of everything. This is why I started to research this company, because I can't make my own aloe, and I can't go into the desert and pick it, and I'm not going to Trader Joe's or Sprouts, because I want to make sure wherever I buy something, I know where it's coming from. We talked about this before. I want to know where the soil is. I want to know where the root of the food that's being made is coming from before I eat it. I want you guys to be sure you get this. Is this backwards? This is backwards, right, guys? So the book is backwards, but it's called The Metabolic Plan. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to flip it around for a second. Metabolic Plan. That's what I want you guys to get. Okay, you ordered it. So as you see this down here, Stephen Trinisky. Amazing, genius. I seriously, this guy is a genius. Get the book. Read it 50 times. Then what I want you guys to do is get this book. Can you hold this? This, again, what does this say? Stephen Trinisky. Hence, get the book. This book is old. This book he wrote, I can't remember, 20 years ago, I can't remember, but this stuff right here is going to talk about the mitochondria and why a lot of us are having issues because we're not getting enough of this in our body. For those of you who had cancer, I want you to get this. This talks a lot about enzymes, and this is really important if you've had cancer. Hence, with that being said, these things are going to be what you're going to use. So I want to make sure, just foremost in anything, I'm not doing these live videos to promote, endorse, or make anyone money. This guy's the chemist. He made most of the products for the company. I can't say online. You can text me later. But there's research, there's books. If you read the metabolic plan, it's going to start making sense. All of this is going to start making sense. And you can't see the board back here, but this all, like I said, is a big circle. Because when we talk about inflammation, hair cancer, Crohn's, stomach issues, it's all about repairing the gut bacteria, right? Because that sends GABAs. It's about keeping our oxygen at the cellular level, energy, Krebs cycle, ATP, athletes, so we can keep going. We want to keep that energy going at the mitochondria cellular level to repair damage and increase our DNA, right? That's what this is all about. I want to thank you, Vanessa, for getting the book. I want you to read it like 2 or 3 times. And then does you guys have any other questions? Because we're going to wrap it up here because I have to tell you this. Another thing that started after I had my implants out. This is a good one. I now eat every 2 to 3 hours, and if I don't, I want to punch you. So my metabolism went from this shit to like I'm up here, and I'm 49 now. I haven't been able to hike a mountain for 10 years that I've been married because of the knee issue. I had a meniscus lateral tear, an ACL tendon release. My femur was crushed. I had a partial knee replacement 2 or 3 times. I've had injections, prolotherapy, chicken stock, cartilage, all kinds of crap. After the kidney was removed, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I'm only doing the things that I do because of the information that I'm giving you. So if you guys truly don't want to live in a victim state, we need to repair in here, and all of this is going to happen. This is easy. I can give you this if I have this to work with, and this is working synergistically, right guys? Does anyone else have any other questions before I wrap it up, because I have to eat? Oh, that was the point of the story. Once you start feeling better, you're going to want to eat literally like every 2 to 3 hours. That's normal. This 2 friggin' times a day is horrible. Slows your metabolism down. You get fat. So people ask me if I eat. I eat a lot. I literally eat like probably 10 times a day, but I don't eat more than this. A fistful. My nuts, my avocado, my kale. I actually have recipes you guys can watch on Instagram. Annie, hi. Hi, Annie. Annie joined us. She's got some other things going on. We're getting almost ready to wrap up the video. Annie, do you want to make comments or anything before we close? Annie? Annie, we've been talking about hair cancer, inflammation, gut bacteria, and how we can fix all of our internal issues if we get on the right things, right? So do you want to say anything to anybody? You don't want to say anything? So I've known Annie for quite a while. She's one of my online supporters, was a awesome hair client for me. Kudos for that. Most of the people that come to me for hair extensions, love you. I won't say it's my experience, Ram. I would say it's my life. What's the word? I don't know what I'm trying to say. My experience, my real life journey, which is, again, I am only trying to help all of you guys and raise awareness and tell you it's not all just styling products. That's not the answer of why we have hair loss. Zip. That doesn't help shit. Oops. But that's not the whole answer. So, Ram, I appreciate you. Kudos to you. If you guys ever need amazing web, I can't even explain to you. He's in Oregon. The chemist is in Seattle. Amazing. I love these people. And I think maybe sometimes I think I need to go back to Oregon, right? Does anyone have any questions before we wrap it up? Annie, do you have any questions? If you read the video earlier before, Annie, we were talking about a really important book that you need to get. It's backwards, I know, but you can message me. You need to buy this book. Get it on Amazon, 10 bucks, 5 bucks. It's called Metabolic Plan. And if you need more information, text me. All right, guys, so we're going to wrap up the video, and I want to just say this in closing, that I really appreciate you. I'm going to say this, is that a lot of people don't understand what I'm going through. And I look like I'm fine, and I actually am now, but I've had a really hard time for the last 3 years, mentally, physically, emotionally, and I'm going to tell you seriously, the #1 root of all evil: inflammation first, stress second, nutritional deficiencies third, medications fourth, toxic places, toxic people, toxic products. That's what I'm going to tell you. I appreciate all you guys so much. And remember, if you can, join my blog called medicallychallenged.community. I want to raise more awareness because this isn't just about breast implants or kidney cancer or lupus or anemia. It's all together. We are all synergists together, and we all need to create this energy so we all can live to be what we should be, which is 110 is what the normal human should be able to live to. I want to make it to about 85, so I'm going to say that 85. And then if I make it past 85, I'm going to buy a robot and they can take care of me. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Thank you. I appreciate all of you guys. And remember, life is about recreating yourself. Have a great day, guys.